Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash. That was fucking awful.
It was.
There we go. I've been recording this entire time, so
Same
like,
so have I. I mean,
okay, well that's the opening.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the show.
Hey everybody.
I mean, that was hopefully going to turn out better. We'll keep that in. That would be great. And especially now that we're like, oh, that's funny. If we took it out, people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I think that should just be our theme song. That should just be our opening theme.
The like third line in Money. Or the third half of the first line, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to You'll Like 'Em. Hoping everybody's having a nice weekend, a nice Nazi-free weekend.
So hopefully, no white supremacy anywhere, any violence on either side.
Oh yes, of course, on either side.
Oh man. Do we want to talk about politics on on today's episode?
Maybe we can brush over it a little bit, but not focus on it.
Yeah.
And just acknowledge what's been happening.
Well, the United States is slowly catching on fire, is what's happening.
Yeah, I am very much considering my parents' suggestions that I go back to study in Scotland again.
Oh God! Please don't leave me. I need you here, Connor. I need my boy.
Well, you can come, I guess.
Can I stay? Can I like come and just stay?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it would be fine. I just need to talk to my family members over there who would be letting me stay there for a bit.
Well, goddamn. Well, I'm now a Scottish boy.
And
I defected to Scotland.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll defect to Scotland because the United States is gonna fucking implode and just fucking turn into Mad Max soon.
Yeah. Soon we'll be spraying like silver spray paint into our faces, screaming "Witness me," and it'll be great. It'll be a good time.
Zach and Liam have already been talking about doing that for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, I've seen that. They've been sending me a lot of snaps of it.
Yeah, they've just been talking about it every time we hang out. They're like, "Hey, I found edible silver spray paint."
Oh God.
Edible silver spray paint.
I don't like those words put together.
No, I
don't like that.
I don't either.
Sentence. Is it like just food coloring then? And it's just like because like it's in a aerosol can. Like that can't be safe. Like that's how people do whippets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like a novelty thing from like years ago, and people just made it and was like, "Hey, you can get edible spray paint," and then no one bought it. And then after Mad Max came out, people started buying it and found out that because like it was just a novelty thing, like no one had ever tested it. And so people were getting like sick off of this edible spray paint.
Oh God.
But
Jesus.
it's just this country is in a right mess right now.
Yeah, it's just really toxic.
And considering that the leader, quote unquote leader of this country, refuses to accept the fact that, you know, there are racist Nazis in this country.
Yeah.
And
it just shows the like utter hypocrisy of the current Republican Party. A party that like had people that were like had no problem comparing Obama to Hitler or to the Nazis, but when faced with actual real Nazis, their leader's just like freezes up and doesn't do anything.
Which is funny because there are still Republicans out there who are like, "What the fuck?
Yeah, no,
are you talking about?"
Yeah, there are Republicans now who are, and you know, bless them, that are coming out and they're like, "All right, I've had it up to here." But my question is, what the fuck took you so long? It took you Nazis to get to this point, really? Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and for some people, it's probably going to take more.
Oh my God! Oh Christ alive!
I just like seeing all the things where people, like hardcore liberals are like posting like, "Never thought I'd ever retweet Mitt Romney or like agree with him," because he was like, "No, there isn't like violence on both sides." One group is, you know, protesting to, you know, have people acknowledge the fact that, hello, we're dying, people are killing us, and the other group is just like, we don't like that black people have says in this country, you know?
No, yeah, absolutely.
It's like it
It
fucking baffles me that there's people out there who are like, I really can't see a difference between these two groups.
Well, the reality is like, all right, so you have like for instance at the Charleston thing, the two mobs that you had there, you had Nazis and then you had the angry mob who are mad at the Nazis. So it's not really two like different sides. It's really just like, hey, we remember that these fuckers are the bad guys and we're not going to let them like stick around, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I guess no one learned anything from Indiana Jones, or like
Yeah.
Jesus.
I did like, apparently someone asked Harrison Ford, was like, so what do you think of all these all this stuff going on in Charlottesville? Do you think you're gonna go down there? And he's like, listen, these are real people. These are real horrible monsters. The people I dealt with in the movies were actors.
Yeah, he's not actually equipped to handle real Nazis.
Also, he's what, 70-something years old? I think.
Who still likes to fly fucking planes and then land them into fields or streets.
Well, I mean, just because he's 70 doesn't mean he's a badass. But going up against a group of skinhead Nazis, you know, I don't know. I don't know how he'd fare.
No, he I don't think he'd win that.
Yeah. And I just have to say, I'm very disappointed in some of the people online, because, you know, it happens with a lot of political stuff that comes out. You know, people who you think are very reasonable, sound-minded people, and they go and they're like, oh, this, you know, people who are attacking these protesters in Charlottesville, you know, are not helping. They're making things worse. And I'm like, what? Are you telling me that you're siding with the Nazis? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I just
And they're like,
I just don't know how we got here. Is my question? You know what? Like, when did we stop realizing that groups like these are terrible people? Like, because their end goal is genocide.
Yeah.
Their end goal is the extinction of races. That's why they're like, oh, we're scared the white people are gonna disappear because who's gonna fucking kill all these brown people? Like, Jesus Christ.
And I love that there was a lot of people out there be like, these are not Nazis. These are people who are just protesting that, you know, they don't feel safe in this country. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I saw a picture of a guy with a fucking shirt on which had an Adolf Hitler quote on there.
Hitler, that guy.
Not his cousin Rudolf Hitler, who was, you know, who knows about him, but no, Adolf, the big bad guy. Yeah. The one who killed 6 million Jews, you know, that little guy, you know?
Yeah. So just for my own sanity, whenever I see like, you know, just Nazis out in the street just being total utter pieces of shit, I like my like brain just kind of like turns off, and then I just hear in the back of my head, springtime for Hitler and Germany. Winter for Paul. Like I just see these ridiculous people out in the street. I'm like, oh, this is just a performance piece. And then I like, that's my way of ignoring it in my own head, just so I can deal with the other shit that's going on in my own life.
Yeah, you can't help but think about I forget the actor's name, but the guy who played the Nazi in The Producers, who was just so over the top, and like,
that guy.
I forget his name, but he was just like, that's what I think of.
Yeah, no.
When people are like, these people out in the streets, like, you know, with their stupid fucking tiki torches and stuff like that.
The way to see these people is they're like racist hipsters, you know? Like they're like, oh man, the fucking 30s were great, you know? And they're also racist, and that's just what they are. They're the two embodiments of like terrible society. Now granted, I'm a hipster, but like I'm very self-aware of it. I know like the things that I like are never coming back, and you know, once something's popular, that's it. But like these guys are the utter worst. These are the pretentious hipsters who truly want to go back in time.
Yeah, these are the ones that are like, oh yeah, 1950s. Those were the times.
Oh yeah,
You know, you got the cool music, you got the cool style. You had, you know, beating up and oppressing black people.
Yeah,
you know, that was
where
the
women
best
were
time.
women and dudes were dudes.
Yeah, and women stayed in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Yeah, but like,
It,
like I'm like you said, I'm a hipster too, but I don't go like, yeah, these times which I like and like to look back to were not perfect.
no, yeah.
I understand that. I would love to go back in time to the 80s, but I wouldn't enjoy the Cold War aspects or
No.
the Reaganomic aspects,
Or
stuff like that.
possibly getting AIDS.
All right, Eddie Murphy.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
Have you ever seen his stand up from the 80s? I forget the one. The one where he wears the big red jumpsuit.
Yeah, I've seen clips, but I haven't seen like any full bits.
I've never like I haven't watched it all the way through. I began to watch it. I was like, I was on a like old like classic comedian kick, and I was like, I'll watch Eddie Murphy, and I watched it, and I got like 10 minutes into that stand up, and he starts talking about like AIDS and HIV, and he's
Oh
like, yeah,
God.
he's like, he's like, I don't want any gay guys coming up behind me, fucking me in the butt, and I'm like, all right, turning this off. This is really not appropriate even for the time.
Too heavy for Connor. Too heavy.
Well, I mean, people were dying at the time.
Yeah,
and
oh,
he's,
yeah.
he's making a joke out of it
Yeah.
that isn't
No,
really funny to begin with. You
yeah.
know,
I get ya.
even for the time, and then after we lost like fucking Freddie Mercury and like people who were like really fucking talented, and even just like normal people. I'm not just saying like, oh, when Freddie Mercury died, that was when AIDS became important. No, I'm saying
Yeah.
like when it became a bigger thing and people were like dying a lot. Like
Yeah.
I just don't think that's super funny to joke about.
Yeah. And then you have to also remember that for a long time Ronald Reagan denied that AIDS even existed or that it was a problem. So there was that.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was cool.
God.
Yeah, wasn't that awesome?
It was another time,
And now we know what it's like to live with a mix between Reagan, Nixon, Bush, and a burning trash fire. So and that's where we're at today. That's where we're at in the world. Me and Connor, our lives on the inside are falling apart, and then the world's falling apart with us. So let's all jump into the hole of death, boys.
Yeah, yeah. And on the other hand, talking about how some jokes aren't funny, I'm totally behind depression jokes like we're making right now.
Oh yeah.
As someone who suffers from depression, I don't know, like, yeah, I'm totally all behind that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a self-aware aspect.
All right. Should we move on, because I don't want to
Yeah.
spend the whole episode talking about it.
No, yeah. For the premise of the show, where me and Connor we talk about things that we're currently listening to and stuff. I actually have some things that I've been listening to, and some of it is actually local artists.
Ooh,
Little, because last night I went to the debut album release show. And for any of our Westminster listeners, you'll know who these people are, hopefully. I went to the album release show for Modern Nomad, who I will be talking about in this, my boy Jonathan Pleviak, and this other band called Never Ending Fall. And there were some other bands that I didn't know too well who were also there, but I don't know if they were releasing albums. And it was a crazy show. Like, it was huge. It was like there was like hundreds of people. And what was crazy is that like the Never Ending Fall guys, their fucking crowd is wild, and they're like this jazz reggae band, and their fucking crew is fucking nuts. Like, so we're just like chilling out in the green room, and like they're sending bus loads of people to the soundstage, and apparently like a group of 30 people had to get turned away because they were too fucking drunk to enter the fucking venue. But so that was my night, and I've been up like I was up all night in fucking Baltimore, and then I was in Bel Air at the after party just hanging out. And so I'm a little scatterbrained at the moment because I'm like a little hungover and just a little exhausted. But the album, or the one group that I'd like to talk about just real quick. I got their album. Tom, who's in Modern Nomad, they're a very indie rock group. I'll be mentioning a lot of stuff like this for today's episode, just mainly because that's what I've been listening to.
right.
And their sound is like kind of like a modern Velvet Underground sort of, it's like that upbeat but like sort of melancholy sort of sound, if you've ever listened
The
to.
the heroin addict sound.
Yeah, sort of. It's more songs like All Tomorrow's Parties, if you ever heard that, or Sweet
Uh-huh.
Jane,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But they're really cool. They just, man, I've got his album somewhere. It's got a yellow cover. I'll find it here later.
Hmm.
But it just got released. I recommend that. I'm pretty sure you can find it for free. And then I'll let you take the floor and you can talk about one.
All right. Well, right now the one of the bands I've been on a kick for, not a more recent band, um, but I used to be on a music forum, like late high school, and on this forum we used to, I was about to say study, but we more just like argued about the vocal ranges of singers.
Yeah.
So we used to go through and find like bands and do what they call note watching, which means essentially you just go through every song and go, oh, listen, this guy hit an A4. He doesn't have an A4 in his vocal range that we found yet, so this is significant. And then like argue about whether it's significant or not. It was one of
That's
the
some deep shit. Like, holy shit.
it was the amount of work that some people put into it was fucking ridiculous. And it was called the Range Place, and one time it didn't get in the news, but some of its like findings ended up in like the news,
Oh, wow.
because, and it wasn't like a good thing. It was because on the site they went through and they would like find like the vocal ranges of singers, and they would go through and say, oh, like this guy's got like a 4-octave range, like a 5-octave range, whatever, like including really low notes like that, and like really like high falsetto and like head voice, whistle notes, and we had a part on the forum which was dedicated to the biggest ranges of like popular singers,
Mm.
and one of them was unfortunately Axl Rose from Guns N'
Oh,
Roses,
God.
and a couple other people like that you might have heard of. But one day, like someone found our site, I guess, and erroneously mistook that Axl Rose has one of the biggest vocal ranges in music for Axl Rose being the greatest singer of all time. And it made the news, and people were like, on a very slow news day, albeit, but like they were like, "Oh yeah, so Axl Rose is considered the greatest singer in rock music," and people were telling me that, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking bullshit." And they were like, "Well, they found this site and they had his vocal range," so I was like, "Oh." And I went onto the Skype chat we used to have, and I went, "Hey guys, do you guys see this?" And they were like, "Yeah, someone went on the site and fucking is now saying that Axl Rose is the greatest singer of all time." So we we were like, nope, someone has to fix this. Someone has to like get it out there that he is not, and this is just vocal range. Vocal range doesn't mean that the person is talented, right?
Oh, my God.
It was
Jesus Christ.
it was a fucking mess, and that site was a mess, and the community was awful.
I just don't know. Even if you hear like the science behind that, there has to be like a large like objective community who are even like, no, fuck the science on that. There's no way you're gonna convince me that Axl Rose is the greatest rock singer in the world.
Yeah, especially
Like,
considering
Jesus Christ.
especially considering like his performances, more recent performances where he like would come out and do Welcome to the Jungle and his voice
Yeah.
was just gone, and he was like, Welcome to the Jungle. Like you just look at that and you can be like, no, he is not. And listen to fucking the stuff he did with Guns N' Roses back in the day and be like, no, he is not.
No, I agree. Absolute awful atrocity on rock music.
But anyway, to go back to what I was saying, we used to do that, and most of us fell out of it. Like I don't do it anymore. Like I'll maybe if I'm listening to a band that I like and I hear something, I'm like, oh, that's cool, and maybe I'll like send it to someone who's still on the site, be like, hey, I've listened to this. You know, I don't know if you're still into that, and some people are. And I have a friend, a guy named Maxim, who's actually in a local band. So let's give a shout out to him.
Ooh.
He's in a Baltimore, DC based band called Thrill Killer.
Oh, is that the guy that I met at MacFest? The guy who liked Godzilla stuff?
No, that's Rob. That's the lead singer. Maxim was
okay.
the guitarist who unplugged his guitar at the fucking show.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, their music's pretty cool, and they're all pretty chill folk. They're doing a lot of concerts. I can look up, and before the episode ends, I can tell you what the next concert is, and if you guys want to go, check it out. If you're in the area, that, go ahead. Go crazy. They're a good group of guys and gals, and they're just cool folk. But anyway, so my buddy, he does it. My buddy Maxim, he does it like off and on. And he messaged me like a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going through Supertramp's entire discography for shits and giggles. Should I just start at the beginning?" And I was like, "All right." And so he was just like, "Wow, I never realized how good their music was." And because I used to be a big I still am, but like I used to be a big Supertramp fan on the forum. Used to like harp on about Roger Hodgson, the singer with like the tenor voice who has like who sang like Logical Song, Give a Little Bit, and like Breakfast in America. Those tracks. Yeah. So he went
Give
through.
a little bit. Give a little bit of your life to me. Sorry, I used to listen to that all the time as a kid.
I
like,
love
all
that
the time.
song. Like, I mean, when I went through their discography a little more in detail, like I found songs that I'd never like listened to before, and I was like, oh, these songs are actually choice. But like we went back and we listened to their discography, and like as far as the stuff with Hodgson, which is like their first 10 years as a band, those are the best albums really. And then when he left, like their album, they had a couple good albums, but like after that they kind of went downhill, and they had a whole fucking bunch of drama around it surrounding like when Hodgson left. He was like, "Hey," to the keyboardist Rick Davies, who sings like "Goodbye Stranger" and "Bloody Well Right" and tracks like that.
Yeah.
Hodgson said to Davies, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna leave. Can you do me a favor? If you guys still tour, can you not perform any of the songs I wrote and sang?"
Ooh.
And like they talked about it, and like they didn't want to have to do it, but like Davies was eventually like, "All right, we'll not perform your songs." And what turns out that a lot of people go to Supertramp concerts, their favorite songs or the songs they want to listen to were the ones written and sung by Hodgson. Well,
ooh.
So like for a couple years they all toured. It was just Davies, the keyboardist, Bob Siebenberg, the drummer, Doogie Thompson, Rutherglen boy from just outside of Glasgow, and John Hellowell, who was the saxophonist, the reed player, I guess, because he played like a lot of reed-based like instruments, like clarinets, shit like that. But they all toured and they did like the Davies tracks. And people were like, "I don't want to fucking hear that. I want to Give a Little Bit and, Dreamer." And so Davies was like, "All right, fuck this." And he started performing them with like a different singer. And the bassist was like, "Dude, you can't do that. You fucking told him, you told Hodgson you wouldn't do it." And then Davies was like, "Yeah, but we weren't making any money." So then the bassist left, and now they're like touring with like a fucking session jazz and blues guitarist, like different singers to do Hodgson's part, and like different bassists and stuff like that. And I mean, I've heard some of their tracks and they still got it. Like they're still like touring and sound great, but like Hodgson was fucking furious about it.
Oh Jesus.
So he like tours, and it's it's a little sad because he just tours with a keyboard and a saxophone player now.
Oh.
So he like plays like the hits. He doesn't have like a bassist or a drummer, and it's just him playing like Breakfast in America, and then he has the saxophonist play like the clarinet and saxophone parts and whatever. And I mean, it's still he's still got like his chops for the most part. And he plays like Give a Little Bit, and like people go crazy for it. But like if you go on and try and find any of his songs by Supertramp on YouTube, they're not credited as Supertramp anymore. They're credited as Roger Hodgson, former like he will take down the video or like message people and tell them they need to change the name of the song, like the credit on the video has to say Roger Hodgson, co-founder, former member of Supertramp, the song name written and performed by Roger Hodgson.
Oh God.
And I'm like, gosh, fuck's sakes. So they've got like a really fucking petty like story to them, but like they're a solid band.
Kind of reminds me a bit of the fuckery that's between like John Fogerty and Creedence Clearwater Revisited. You know, like how they both tour. And Clearwater just has like a different person singing as John Fogerty, who does a really good impression. I saw them live at I think it was like Pier 6 or maybe Merriweather. No, it was Pier 6. But yeah, I don't know. Like it may be due to because I'm not very famous whatsoever. So and like I do anything and everything to like try to not have an ego, but like what kind of asshole do you need to be to demand such a credit and thing to do over fucking like a track on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
Like what happened in your life where that's what you do nowadays?
Well, obviously it was the fact that when he left Supertramp, he never like got the like same kind of like attention he did. As when he was in Supertramp. And I think the last thing he did to get like recognition is I don't know if you remember, I forget the name of the actual song, but a song came out like mid 2000s and they like I don't want to say sampled because it wasn't a sample, like they got someone to come in and sing it, but used Breakfast in America's "Take a Look at My Girlfriend, She's the Only One I Got," ba ba da dum, during like the chorus, and the band, whoever they were, won a Grammy for it.
Ooh.
And because Hodgson wrote part of the track and like they used it, he also won a Grammy, and he was there and he picked up his Grammy as well. And I could be mistaken, he could have done other stuff like, but like that was the last I ever heard about him. And for a while he toured with Ringo Starr in his all-star band.
Yeah.
I remember like because it was Roger Hodgson on guitar and vocals, and they also had Greg Lake on bass and vocals, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is two of my favorite people. But like Hodgson's one of those people that I think it's like, as much as like how petty he is about the whole thing, I mean he has like a right to an extent because they were both just as petty as one another. But like I'm able to separate the art from the artist on that, and I just love his music and his voice and stuff like that. And I've seen interviews with him, and he seems like, other than the whole copyright thing, like he seems really chill and like really nice. But like when you look into that, you're like, fuck's sakes, man.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Like no, I was just gonna say like, yeah, I guess like, did he not get royalties on it? Like, does that play into it on this stuff? Or
I would think he did get royalties, because like Lennon and McCartney, like they did like a Davies and Hodgson credit on like every song that was on like their albums after like their third album. Like it was Davies and Hodgson, Davies and Hodgson, Davies and Hodgson for every song. And then I think later on, if you go on Wikipedia, it's like every song is credited as Davies and Hodgson. But like if you look at like the track listing, it's like everything was credited as Davies and Hodgson, but the real writer is listed under here, as in who wrote it and who performed on what. Like,
oh, okay.
But like apparently they just, from like after their third or fourth album, they just stopped getting along. And by the time like Breakfast in America came out in '79, they were just like, they wouldn't talk to each other in the studio, and like just fucking drama like that.
Well, if that's all you have to say about Supertramp, I've got one more recommendation. Or no, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just bitching about them for a minute. I do have recommendations.
Okay.
Well, first of all, they're it's a weird thing because they're one of these bands that, real surprisingly, from their first album, had like a pretty solid sound. Like, you get most bands who, like, first couple albums, they're like experimenting,
Yeah, yeah. Or they're
but
they're
like
sounding like somebody else.
yeah, well, their first album is super solid. Like, it's a little more like psychedelic at times, but other than that, like, it's like if you put it on, you would know it's Supertramp, and like it's. And I was talking to my buddy Maxim about it, and we both listened to it, and we were like, no, this is a, like, as far as debuts go, this is a fucking solid album, and it's just called Supertramp. It was released in, I think, 1970, and just some great tracks on there. Maybe I'm a Beggar. There's a Long Road, or It's a Long Road, excuse me. And the Crime of the Century album, the third album, is one of the, like, my favorite albums. Just like it's just an album I can put on and not have to skip a single track.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, every track's really solid. The song Asylum, like, really doesn't get as much credit for how great it is. And we were listening. One of their, apparently the band's least favorite albums is their fourth, which is called Crisis What Crisis. And well, first of all, very appropriate album name and like concept for nowadays, I must say.
Yeah.
Because like the picture is like a guy on like a lawn chair with like an umbrella. He's like sunbathing, and then there's like a fucking wasteland behind him.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the album cover. I actually don't know too much or a whole lot of Supertramp. Like Supertramp, I really honestly know is like the greatest hits, and that's about it.
Right.
But oh yeah, no, that's very, very telling. Very, very, a little close to home again.
Yeah, yeah. But
Thought
like,
we were past
that's
nuclear destruction, but well, welcome back. Things are coming back around. It's retro, it's vintage.
yeah. Well, I watched a video today about how gated reverb is coming back into style, and I was like, I'm all for that coming back. Not the fucking threat of nuclear, holocaust, but like that part from the 80s I can get behind. But that album, Crisis What Crisis, I think it's 74, and it didn't do too well. Not many tracks on it are like well known, but there's some like fucking solid tracks on there. One of the best ones is one I think they still play nowadays, is called Another Man's Woman, and I definitely recommend you check that one out because it's some fucking incredible piano work on it. And it's just a fun song. Then after that was Even in the Quietest Moments, which has like Give a Little Bit, From Now On. It's a pretty great album too. The song Fool's Overture on that one is one of my all-time favorites. Really beautiful and like moving song. And Breakfast in America is the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
And that was the one where I gave you a recommendation, like when we were just like during the week. The song Child of Vision.
Yeah, you did. Yes. I've yet to look it up.
It's like
but
it's 7 minutes long, and it's like,
well, I mean, I've got my headphones
Yeah.
on. I can actually pull it up on my computer
Yeah,
and just like listen to it.
if you want, I can send you a link, or if you want to look it up yourself. But no, it's got like this like kind of dark sound to it, and then the last, I think, like 4 minutes are like this piano solo, and it just like, I heard it and I was like, that would work really great for like to be played in the background of a movie or whatever, like at parts.
Yeah.
Did I show you my reaction from having seen the Emoji Movie, those videos?
No, you didn't.
No.
I was so mad that you went to go see the Emoji Movie without me.
Well, we can always go see it again because like,
Oh God.
I never finished it. We'll talk about.
No, yeah, you walked out. You fucking walked out on
Yeah,
it.
well,
How dare
we'll
you?
talk about that later, and like once we've gotten our recommendations out, we can talk about like movies, our music
Yeah.
recommendations. We can talk about movies we've seen, and I can tell you about that experience. But no, I was just listening to that song in the car, and I recorded a couple Snapchats, and I was like, hey, these are actually like, these would fucking work really well for like a movie or whatever. But like, I know I don't consider myself a film auteur on Snapchat or anything, but it's a solid track. But they're a band that I think people just kind of go like, they're a kind of shitty like sophistopop like art rock kind of band.
I just want to say real quick, I have seen this album cover before. It's of the woman outside the plane and the World Trade Centers in the background.
The what?
For Breakfast in America. I've actually seen
Oh,
this.
the cover.
Yeah, I pulled up Child of Vision. Oh God, yeah. Oh, man, does that not hold up retrospectively?
It's not a great cover. I mean, I like their last album. Well, the last two, Crisis and even in Quietest Moments. Those are nice covers. Where there's the one with the guy sitting on the chair with the shit going in the background, and even in the Quietest Moments, just has a grand piano that's covered in snow
Oh,
and has like sheet music. And I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty album cover. And the first time I listened to it was my friend lent me it on vinyl, and it just sounded 10 times better.
ooh, nice.
As it does, as it
Always
does.
loving that vinyl shit.
But yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think of that song, because that's like I've been listening to it a lot recently, and I'm like
Yeah.
really digging it.
I so my recommendation, I think my next one, I've most certainly know I've talked about him, and I don't remember if I gave it as a recommendation. I think I did. I unfortunately have just been listening to a lot of Mac DeMarco. Like I just got all of his albums, and
Legally,
dude,
of course.
no, I bought them.
Yeah.
They're on Bandcamp if anybody's interested. They're great. Like I highly recommend his new one, which might be my favorite. This Old Dog, and then there's Mac DeMarco 2, which I kind of feel like is not a greatest hits, but that's like the one that has like all the songs I think like most people, like if you just like kind of like know one or two of his work, like the two big ones are My Kind of Woman and Ode to Viceroy. Both are great tracks. Like
I think I've heard either like bits of both or at least one of those. Like,
oh dude, I'll send it to you, man. It's really good. Like like another one, it's like one of those albums where like every song on there is just a fucking great track.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I shit you not. It's one of those where like, oh, I can just listen to this entire thing. And the same thing with This Old Dog. But like with Mac DeMarco 2 and Salad Days, there's some tracks on there I'm like, all right, this kind of sounds like some of the previous ones. But I really like, and I discovered this recently. I really like music that has like this weird little like nick in it, where it's like with Mac DeMarco, Dylan, and recently when I was listening to Rock On by David Essex, there's this like slight out of pitch like tune to it, and it just kind of gets you while you're kind of going with the music. And there's something about that I just really like for some reason, like I like getting physical and like real like rushes of emotion from art. Not to sound pretentious by any means, but like, I've always liked it when like films like, tastefully at the very least push the envelope, and it like sometimes you just watch something or you listen to something that just gives you like a physical reaction, like that's just where it's just so potent, and like that kind of like trippy out of tune folk rock sort of vibe that Mac DeMarco does. I think that it does that very well. Like I feel like I'm like sick but like happy when I listen to his music.
Yeah.
Like if that's good.
I get what you're saying,
yeah. But no, he's really cool. He's like this Canadian guy who came out of I think Toronto, and he's super fucking like goofy and like really nice. And like it kind of like bothers me like when I see like people I like and they aren't shitty, I mean, so we've talked about this before where it's like, oh, it sucks, like if you meet your hero or whatever and they're kind of like a dick, but like when it comes to people like, oh, Stanley Kubrick or like whatever, insert whatever person you think is like an auteur or a genius, like you hear of them like having like crazy stories like with Kubrick, like making oh, what's her name from The Shining? Shelley Duvall, making her do takes like 100 times, like, oh man, how cruel and evil he must be. That's how he's like an evil genius. It's like weird to see like someone who I think is super smart but also like really nice, like in interviews and stuff. But no, I don't know if I honestly cannot remember if I've recommended him before. I know I've talked about him.
Yeah,
I've just
you've at least talked about him, but and you might have, it might not even have been on the show. It might have just been when we were talking. But
yeah.
no, I've heard of him. I had a coworker, I think a couple years ago, who was I think we were talking about, of all people, Devin Townsend, and I was like, yeah, he's this guy who does a lot of really weird like music. Like he's very versatile, and he's he's and I just mentioned, I think, the fact that he was Canadian. And my coworker was like, "Oh, he sounds like this guy Matt DeMarco," and I was like, "Oh yeah." And I listened to his music, and I was like, "Well, this is cool, but it's nothing like Devin Townsend."
I actually just recently got into David Townsend. His is kind of more like it's more like kind of like folk, like more like Dylan sort of rock, you know?
What, Devin Townsend?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I get from it.
what album did you listen to?
I haven't listened to any full albums. To be completely honest, the only thing I've ever heard of him is he does a cover of Dylan's "Just Like Tom Thumb's Blues." So I mean, it's really good. Like I mean, you know, I think as you should be when it comes to your favorite artist. I'm really picky when it comes to like cover songs, you know? Like it's cool when I'm at a show and like a band I'm seeing, they cover a song, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Like this is great. Like, you know, everybody knows this song, I can rock to it." But like when I'm hearing like there's just some like covers of like Dylan songs and like the Beatles that are just fucking awful. For instance, Guns N' Roses.
Wow, yeah.
Just to bring that back around. But no, he does a very, very good cover. He does that song "Justice," and I think that's very rare when it comes to Dylan's stuff.
I didn't even know he did a cover.
Yeah.
Oh, Frankie Miller covered that. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm not. Are you sure it was Devin Townsend?
I believe so.
I'm not finding anything about it. I'm looking it up. I'm not saying like, "Ooh, you're automatically lying." I'm just like, huh.
Are there two?
Maybe he like.
Are there two people with the last name Townsend? Oh no, this is not the same guy I'm thinking. Like, did you spell? Is it Devin or David?
Oh, Devin, Devin.
Oh, ignore absolutely everything I just said, Connor. Completely ignore all of that because I was thinking of somebody completely fucking different. Who the fuck am I thinking of?
I don't know. I mean, I once for the longest time was like,
I got his name on my phone somewhere.
I was thinking that Devin Townsend was like Pete Townsend's son, and then I looked him up and I was like, oh no, not even sort of.
No, that's nowhere close.
Well, first of all, the name's spelt differently, and like, if like he was Pete Townsend's son, I think Pete Townsend would have disowned him because of the music he plays.
What kind of music does he play then? Oh,
he's like,
I know. I not to interrupt you. I just fucking realized who it is. It's the guy I mixed up. It's like Tom's Van Sant or something. I got
Thomas Van Sant.
Yeah, I just really fucked that up really hard, and I please
no, it's all
please
good.
Forgive me. Towns Van Sant. Yeah, here we go. All right.
Yeah.
My bad. All right. Sorry. It's been a long week.
So
I did a 5 to 9 job for the first time for an entire week, and it was awful. So, running on empty here today.
Did you say 5 to 9?
Or 9 to 5. Fuck.
I was about to say either you're working a really short shift or you're working over 12 hours, and I'm real sorry.
Oh yeah. 9 to 5. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So yeah, my bad. Oops.
That's all good.
But check out Towns Van Sant. He's also very good.
Okay, yeah, you'll need to send me that later.
That's my other recommendation for the show.
Well, since you've never heard of him, I'll recommend Devin Townsend. Well, you've not heard his music. I mean, I'll recommend Devin Townsend.
There we go.
He you know Steve Vai, right?
Yeah, I do know Steve Vai.
Well, Devin Townsend started with Steve Vai like in the early 90s. Like Steve Vai hired this young Canadian kid to play like rhythm guitar and sing lead vocals on like one and maybe 2 of his albums. Mm-hmm. And like he's like, I remember I first heard it, I was like, this guy's really insane. Like he does like all this crazy kind of like screaming and like pseudo operatic vocals, and I'm like, wow, this guy's insane. And then he was in a I don't want to say death metal because they were like really fucking heavy, but they were also semi-serious. Like sometimes they would do like fairly serious songs, and then other times they would do like completely like complete piss take songs called Strapping Young Lad.
So, ooh, okay.
Yeah. A Strapping Young Lad, according to Wikipedia, was a Canadian extreme metal band formed by Devin Townsend in Vancouver, British Columbia in 94. Their debut album is called Heavy as a Really Heavy Thing.
Wow.
So if that gives you a an idea of the kind of like style they go for.
That's either incredibly funny or incredibly pretentious, and I don't know which is which.
Well, let me help you out. They have a song. I'm trying to find it. I mean, they do some like serious stuff, and then they also do some like not very serious stuff. I mean, their first live album. You ever heard the Motorhead live album called No Sleep Till Hammersmith?
No, I haven't.
Well, that's their real famous live album they did. But Devin Townsend and Strapping Young Lad did one called No Sleep Till Bedtime.
Nice. I approve.
And they have a song, I can't find it. I can't find what album it's off of, but they have a song called Satan's Ice Cream Truck.
Nice.
I don't know what album it's on. But they also did another song. I forget what album it was off of. And it was, I forget what it was called. Happy Camper, that's what it was called. And it was just like fucking extreme metal, like back in like, and Devin Townsend screaming at the top of his lungs for like 3 minutes straight. And apparently, like, after he finished recording it, like, he fainted in the booth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But, like, he did stuff like that. That was his joke project that he did. Like, he always said, like, he never took it 100% seriously. I mean, one of his songs on this album I'm looking at is just simply called You Suck. I mean, and if it gives you an idea, Devin Townsend was friends with... I don't know how to say the name, but the lead singer for Gwar.
Don't know who that is.
You never heard Gwar?
No, I haven't.
Well, they were like this like parody metal band where they like, you know how you got bands like Manowar who were like, oh, we are metal and we, live and die for metal.
Yeah.
And then Gwar, they all dressed up in monster costumes and they were like, we are aliens from another planet who have come to learn about metal, and we are going to do all these songs that are super metal. And they're so over the top. It's brilliant.
Oh, God. I feel like I've heard of that before.
Like, if you saw pictures of them, they all dress up in, like, horrendously ugly costumes.
How do you spell
great.
that? I'm going to look it up right now.
Gwar.
Gwar. Gwar.
Yeah, the lead singer's name was Dave Brokey.
I most certainly have seen these guys.
You recognize him?
Absolutely. Oh God, I've seen some memes of these guys.
Yeah, they were fucking metal as fuck. Their lead singer died of a heroin overdose.
Oh Jesus. Oh damn.
And then one of their guitarists also died like of a drug overdose. Like they didn't have a very happy lineup at times. What was his name? I think it was the guitarist. Yeah. Fatus Maximus.
Ooh.
He when did he well, he's played by different people. I'm trying to remember the one. I guess is it Corey Smoot? I don't know. One of the guitarists, it was Corey Smoot, the guitarist who played the guitarist. They all had like characters, right?
Uh-huh.
So they there would be the guitarist's name was Fatimus Maximus, and like if one of the members of the band left, they would bring in someone else to play that member.
Oh, okay. So
sort of like what Kiss said they're gonna do.
Is that what they're gonna do?
Well, that's what Gene Simmons is like. I think it's fine. If we just keep the Kiss, name and brand going, but like if people replace us, which is you're just fucking paying to see a cover band at that point.
Yeah, yeah. You're no longer paying for Kiss.
Yeah, which
I've
like
never heard of that before. That's
yeah,
weird.
like apparently he said he wants to do that. That was more
What kind of
recently. I
profound
mean,
image do you have for Kiss then? If you think it's like, oh, it'll continue forever.
well, obviously enough where people are still gonna pay to go see it. I guess he
Yeah.
thinks. I mean, Gene Simmons can fuck off and die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of Kiss. I mean, there's some songs that I think are really good. I won't lie, but like, I'm not into like the Kiss Army scene or anything like that.
No, that's a very like, oh, for fuck's sakes, come on, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, Devin Townsend, he would do like that kind of like extreme metal, like like, and wow, like
yeah.
terrible stuff. Well, that was a terrible impression of that kind of stuff. But like he would
No,
just,
you're spot on. You got it.
but then he would do shit like he has an album called Ghost, which is like fucking folk, almost ambient music.
Okay.
And it's, well, he has his project called the Devin Townsend Project, which is one of my favorite groups. I saw them live, and they were incredible. So yeah, he did this. He released two albums at the same time, because this guy is one of the fucking hardest working people in music. I swear to fucking God. Um, One called Deconstruction, which was like, again, the same kind of vein, like very heavy, like prog metal, experimental, and then still like the silly kind of stuff on it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he released this one, Ghost, which he called the mellowest and the prettiest record I've done so far. And it's like new age kind of ambient. I mean, it's like you can put that on the background and like have it play, and it's really nice to listen to. It's really pretty sounding, like he says. But it just makes you sit there and listen to it and be like, this guy released on the same day two albums on complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and he's one of my favorite like musicians and like artists out right now. I think he's super fucking talented, and some of his albums are absolutely incredible. And he has one that's real famous, which is a parody concept album called Ziltoid the Omniscient,
Mm.
which is about an alien that comes down from space to find the perfect cup of coffee on Earth.
Oh, wait. Didn't Zappa do something very similar to that?
He might have. I don't know. I don't know if he did the same kind of thing, but like I know Zappa did a lot of really bizarre concepts for his albums. But like
I've most
the
certainly have heard of this before. This sounds very
um
familiar.
like it's a really like crazy album, and it's got like on the album it's got like tracks which are just him doing like silly voices over like really heavy backing tracks, and then he has like songs on there which are like absurdly like mellow but like heavy at the same time, and they're just real good. Like he's a super, I can't emphasize enough how talented this guy is. And if you ever want to check out an album, out what albums I should say, because they're fucking like incredible. His album Addicted is really good. Deconstruction's good, but only if you like really heavy music. And there are some tracks on there which are like purely for comedy's sake. There's one called Deconstruction, which is about like eating food and shitting it out. He has
Amazing.
one. He has one on the album called The Mighty Masturbator, which is also fucking sublime. Um, and then another one, good one, is his album Sky Blue, which came out 2014, and it was released like as a double album with the sequel to Ziltoid the Omniscient called Dark Matters, and those are both real good albums. Sky Blue has one of my favorite tracks, which is called Universal Flame, which is like just a damn fucking good song. Like, and some of the songs on that album are like borderline pop songs. Like, I remember one of my friends joked that Devin Townsend wrote one of the best pop songs of that year. And then his most recent album, which is called Transcendence, is oh so good, so good.
Well, goddamn, I'll have to check them out then.
I will even if the next time I see you, I'll do the same as what I said to Liam, and I will like threaten to bring albums of his to like forcibly make you borrow.
Would you say I'd like him? Question mark.
I would say that you'd like uh, uh,
And
but
that's the show.
yeah. But yeah, so those would be my recommendations. Would just be Supertramp and Devin Townsend,
Yeah.
and I'm glad. My friend's band Thrill Killer. I can't say I wouldn't recommend them
Yeah. Well, we
because
gotta.
they are good. And fucking if I went on the show and said, hey, I don't recommend my friend's band, I wouldn't have that friend anymore.
No,
That would
yeah.
make me sad.
Yeah. But hey, we did good. We recommended some local talents, so that's good. Talked about some big names. Shit talked Axl Rose for a while. That was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at an hour. What do we want to do?
Well, do you want to talk about movies as well and then wrap it up?
Yeah, because honestly, I've got food waiting for me, and I've been eyeing that for a while.
I do too, but I'm downstairs in the basement, so
Yeah.
I'm waiting until I finish to go back up and devour that.
Yeah.
So what movies have you seen recently that you'd like to talk
Dude,
about?
I don't know what it is. I've been in like a real like heavy-handed like art kick of watching films. I rewatched Solaris, and this is a director I want to gush over real quick. Andrei Trotsky. I'm pronouncing that incredibly wrong, but he directed Solaris, and then I think Steven Soderbergh remade it with George Clooney, and it just didn't really do well.
Oh yeah.
But the original from the 1970s, and I just watched his other film, which is honestly has to be my favorite now. It used to be Solaris. Solaris is now like number 2. Stalker, and just to give like a some behind on like how his style of filmmaking is. He's compared or like given the nickname as the Soviet version of Stanley Kubrick. Like there's always been this like argument that like, oh, Solaris was a reply to the West's 2001, because they're both very like slow paced, like heavy like art science fiction films. The whole premise of Solaris is that and Solaris kind of and Stalker kind of have very similar themes and like stories, but the whole premise is that there is this planet that has like all these fantasies on it, and we have like the space station just observing it, and like it just goes through one of these astronauts like relationship with his wife, and it's very existential, very heavy, like very sad stuff. And then Stalker's a little bit like that. It deals with more. It's kind of like more loosely based on the Chernobyl disaster,
Right.
Where it's like, there's that was hit by a meteor, and that doesn't want people going there, even though it used to be their home. And it is the whole premise is like it's also a fantasy land where your wishes come true and some shit. But that one I like a little bit more because it's a little. Solaris is like a little too like, okay, I get it. Like he really likes to use these monologues of people just having existential crises, and they just kind of go on for like a little too long.
Right.
But Stalker like has a little more. It's a little more even with that. I'm still watching more of his stuff. Those are 2 recommendations. I highly recommend them. His visuals are insane. I like just the camera movements in Stalker. They're in this like place called the Zone, where it's like where the meteorite hit, and it's just really what it is. It is just regular Russia, but just in color, because like the whole first half is in sepia tone, and it gives this feeling of like a dystopian future. And this came out in 1979, I think, or 80.
And the not Stanislaw, the Andrei Tarkovsky one.
Yeah.
72, and it was a remake. Well, not a remake, but it was like the second adaptation. Of the book.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even know it was based off of a book. Holy shit.
Yeah, there was a black and white. Well, this was a television film, so I guess we can just kind of go like to that. But it was like, Solaris was originally a 2-part 1968 Russian film based on the 61 novel by Stanislaw Lem, and then the Tarkovsky version was in a 72.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I literally because I saw Solaris when I was younger, but like I just didn't get it at all. I just remember seeing like the space visuals and just being like confused as a child. but like I recently rewatched it, and like I'm now like just getting into his work. No, I highly recommend that guy. Just to go down the list, I also watched Sindeki New York by Charlie Kaufman.
Is that how that's pronounced?
Yes, I believe it's Sindeki. I've heard YMS pronounce it that way, so I'm just gonna go with that. Um, oh oh my God, Connor, I do not recommend you watch this if you're feeling depressed. Holy shit! Like if you are any, I mean, all right. So I recommend you should just watch movies like no matter how they make you feel or whatever, whether they be good or bad. But God damn it, if you're trying to be like an artist as your like career, that movie fucking hits you on every point and just makes you so sad. So it's just like, oh, so like no matter what I do, I will be depressed for the rest of my life. Oh, being an artist is like just this unfulfilling like thing that you do forever because it is you. It is just but before I break down here on the show, it is very good. It is, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman's like last performance, if I'm not mistaken, or one of his lasts, I think. And he does it very well. I highly recommend that. And then just to tie it off, I haven't started getting into much of it. I just literally started watching like the first 30 seconds. Gaspar Noé's Love 3D, if you know what that is.
Love 3D?
Oh my God. Have you ever seen Irreversible or Enter the Void?
No.
Oh my God. I gotta show I have to show you Irreversible. I think you'll like
Wait,
that.
what's it called?
Irreversible?
No, the other one.
I think I think its just title is just Love, but it came out in 3D, and like I think the only way from what I've seen of it I can describe it as is a pornographic drama. It's kind of like Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, where it's like the sex is like real and it's like all in your face about it, but like Love 3D it feels a little bit more tasteful in my opinion.
Oh, found it. Gaspar No, is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Ew, I do not like the cover they have on Wiki.
Oh yeah, isn't that good?
It's just three people sticking their tongues in each other's mouths.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah.
And there's like drool hanging off. It's
I
not
love
a
it.
not a pretty looking one.
It's awesome. It's rock and roll.
Well, it has and it's fun. It's always funny when you find films like this that you really enjoy and then no one else enjoys.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely hated. It is absolutely hated. Cause like that's one thing I've noticed. Like with like, all right, I mean, you can't. It's really hard to sell love to like a general audience. Like it's like the first literal scene is a guy like with this girl, like the girl is jerking him off and he's like fingering her, and it's that for like almost a solid minute.
Jesus.
And it's like you see it, like it's just a single like frame of that. But like the like when it comes to art films, like usually when you see like it's six out of 10 like on IMDb or like 50 or whatever, that means it's like split. Because like there's most certainly art films that I don't like. I don't like some of like David Cronenberg's work. That work I just feel like is just too cold for me to watch. I like The Fly. The Fly is great.
Yeah, I was going to say
Videodrome.
The Fly's good.
The Fly is very good. Videodrome is also very good. But like his recent one, Map to the Stars, I just thought was just lame. I just like didn't care about any of it. And like I got the like message and like the themes it was trying to tell me, and I just like thought it was boring. My friend Carmine will hate me that I said that. But all right, so those are the movies I've just been watching. I've just been watching like a lot of weird art stuff. I don't know why. I just was like, I want to feel weird for a while.
Well, I haven't watched any like older movies recently that I haven't seen already. I went back and I watched The Room for the millionth time.
Of course.
And it's still as good like on the millionth watch as it is on the first watch. You see all these parts, and I mean sometimes you pick up stuff that you didn't catch before, like maybe you hear a line read and you're like, hey, that's actually not as bad as some of the other parts in the movie, but it's immediately followed with one of the worst ones that you've ever heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like other than that, like I've just been seeing like ones in the theater. The last 3 movies I saw, which is great. It was a good movie sandwich with it's like having two slices of like artisan bread, like that's really nice, and then you get like cheap bologna and like Kraft American cheese slice in the middle.
God,
But
that's the
like,
worst cheese in my opinion. I hate Kraft
yeah,
singles so fucking much. I'm sorry. I just it's so toxic.
yeah, it's not real cheese, you know.
No,
But
yeah.
anyway, the movies I saw, in order of when I saw them, were The Big Sick,
Okay.
Kumail
Nanjiani.
Nanjiani. It's always his last name that gets me.
Yeah.
And then like someone says it, and then I'm fine after that. Nanjiani. I saw that one, and that was excellent. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, I would definitely say. Then afterwards, as we have previously discussed, I had the misfortune of sitting through, I'd say about an hour of the Emoji Movie.
An hour? How long is it?
It's I think it's close to 2 hours.
What the fuck?
If you take into consideration, no, I think it's about 90 minutes. Now that I
Okay.
think about it, it's that I don't know how long the movie itself actually is, because obviously you got the previews beforehand, and at the beginning they had like an animated short from the Hotel Transylvania movie.
Ooh, okay.
And I've never seen Hotel Transylvania, but I will say this. I'm so glad that this wasn't Illumination and that it was like preceded by like a fucking Minions short,
Yeah.
because if it was, I would have walked out a lot fucking sooner.
Oh god.
Um,
Yeah. Not a fan of that shit.
But it was the Hotel Transylvania one, and I've never seen those movies, but the animation in it was actually really interesting, because it was, whereas like Emoji Movie and like some of the other animated movies out now have like cartoonish aspects but still try to make them look a little more realistic in their movements.
Yeah.
This one was just like a straight up animated cartoon. Like the characters were moving like fucking old like Looney Tunes cartoons
Yeah.
and that. And I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like the jokes in it weren't like incredible. I mean, you're working with Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler, two of my least favorite comedians.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, and I know, if anybody listens, they'll be like, "Oh, Andy Samberg's funny." He's funny when he's working with other people.
Yeah, I like Lonely Island.
Yeah, Lonely Island's funny. He did some okay stuff on SNL.
yeah.
Like, but overall, as a solo guy, like he is not funny in the slightest.
I wasn't a huge fan of Hot Rod, if you remember that coming out. That was like a big.
I did not see that because I did not like Andy Samberg. So
It's not very good. That's about it.
I can't imagine that being the case, Josh. I think you're just letting your bias get in the way.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just so like I don't know. It feels like an Adam Sandler movie just with Andy Samberg. Like
Yeah.
that's the best way I can describe it.
But that was horrendous. The Emoji Movie. Again, the beginning, the Hotel Transylvania animated short was fine. I was actually kind of laughed a little bit at that, and like some of the animation was cool. But then the Emoji Movie started, and
So how much of the? Because I feel like the Emoji Movie that could go on for like another hour of describing how. Because I mean I haven't seen it, but I like this was such a movie that was so built up to be terrible. I don't know who in the world was like I can't. I mean there were people who are excited to see it. Ironically, it was going to be so bad, but like it's just like. Why? What was the selling point of like making just garbage and knowing it was gonna bomb, like critic wise, and then well, you know what? I answered my question. Money. It was money. It was a cash grab. Why didn't I think about that?
it is a 90-minute commercial.
Yeah.
For like Dropbox and Facebook and
Candy
Instagram
Crush.
and Candy Crush and all these different fucking mobile based things with jokes that would not even be fucking featured in an Adam Sandler movie, and would be more at home in something that was released as like a quick cash in for like a big budget animated film. If there is one of those coming out, because they happen with all big ones that come out with like a lot of hype around them. If there does by any chance happen to be uh, like a low budget like B animation studio made, um, like cash in towards the Emoji Movie, you'd be hard pressed finding it to be worse than the actual Emoji Movie.
Uh-huh.
The Emoji Movie does have like animation that's fine in it. Like some of the animation like looks like people actually tried on it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's a sad thing about it. Some like T.J. Miller sounds like he's not half-assing it like some of the other people in the movie are.
Yeah.
Like Anna Faris is in it, and I don't remember what she's been in exactly, but I just know that I've never heard people being like, Anna Faris is one of the greatest actresses of all time, or that Anna Faris is one of the worst actresses of all time. But after seeing this movie, I'm like, is she not the latter though? Because she was pretty fucking terrible in this.
I just what bothers me so much about this movie. I mean, it's because like it made its money, like it did its job, like it brought butts into seats, and I'm it
Got a story about that after you're finished, but go
okay,
on.
and like I don't know, it's just when I just see like Hollywood trash like this, and to be fair, like I kind of see this with like a lot of other things, like I'd say Despicable Me and some other like
Oh, of course.
Disney movies, um.
Well,
Or just like I know, or just like studio, like they're studio garbage to me. Like it just bothers me that shit gets like recognition, and then like smaller films don't, or foreign films and shit like that. And it just sucks.
mm-hmm.
Um, but then again, we're not the regular audience. Like what blockbusters and things are in regular movie theaters. That's what people go see. We're fucking hipsters who live in our basements and watch art films.
Speaking of the audience for the movie, yesterday I was working at the theater and had two different people come in to see the Emoji Movie that stood out to me. One was a guy who came in with his kid and said to me, he was like, "Yeah, I tried to persuade my kid to go see Spider-Man with me, but he didn't want to." And Spider-Man, I think, would be a fine movie to take a kid to, as opposed to this fucking travesty
Oh my god,
of the
absolutely.
Emoji Movie. But he says to me, he's like, "Yeah, I tried to persuade my kid," and I was like, "Oh, what are you seeing then?" And he's like, "Emoji Movie," and I was like, I told him, I was like, I tried to watch it, to, give it a chance. It was like, maybe it's not as bad as everyone says, or maybe there's some parts in it that are so bad it's good. I said, it's not even got that. And he said, well, I've got a phone with full charge. And I was like, sit in the back of the theater, like in the back corner. I said, and just turn the brightness down a good bit, and I will 100% let you get away with that.
Well, you're a good man.
And he walked out, and I said, how was it? And he was like, painful.
Oh my god. My question is, what kid doesn't want to see the Spider-Man movie and rather want to see the fucking Emoji Movie?
Either a kid who's too young, or has like maybe one, because this guy was obviously down to see it. Maybe one parent who's like, I don't want them to see an action film or like
Yeah.
a superhero film, and has just been brainwashed by that. Or those kids, like the second kid that came in to see it that I'm going to talk about. Old guy and this kid come in, and I'm talking to the old guy. I'm like, oh, what'd you guys see? And he was like, oh, we saw the Emoji Movie. And I was like, oh. And I looked at him and I was like, what did you think of that? And he goes, it was all right.
Ugh.
First of all, I took like a fucking double take. And I was like, oh. And then he points to the kid he's with and goes, this is his second time seeing it.
Ugh.
And Josh, like, I tried to like make a joke towards the kid, like, oh, well, is it better the second time around, or did you enjoy it just as much as the first time? I could not get any word out. I was so fucking shocked and disgusted that people were going to see this movie. The kids were being allowed to go see this movie more than once, and were able, and the fact that Sony is making money off of this because there are fucking, excuse my vulgarity, retarded kids out there like that who are going to see this film. All right?
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
You know what? I don't like that word. I won't use that word in any
No,
other
I get you.
context.
I get you.
I was fucking astounded.
I just that's what a man. I mean, well, hopefully the majority of them, like, either A, don't like it, or probably retrospectively like, oh, this was great when I saw it as a kid. I've got good memories, and then watch it and go, oh no, this is actually garbage. I just feel bad for the ones who fucking actually enjoy that and will like enjoy that for the rest of their life.
Well, also when I came back from seeing it, I saw it last Sunday. I came in and I said to the kids at my celebrate, I was like, hey, I saw the Emoji Movie, kids. Anybody seen that yet?
And they all cried.
3 kids put their hands up. 2 kids, sisters, said, oh, we liked it. We thought it was funny. And I said, get out of my classroom.
I'm calling the police.
And then the other girl was like, yeah, I saw it. I hated it. It was really stupid. And I hugged that child.
You gave them the
like,
gold sticker. You're like, you're the king for today.
I was like, you are my star pupil in this summer camp.
Oh, gonna make a great dad, Connor.
And I said to all the other kids, there was kids like, yeah, I really want to see it. And I said, don't go see it.
Go see Spider-Man, kids.
I'll talk to your parents. Don't go see it. And I'm really tempted to, like, if a kid's like, oh, we're going to go see Emoji Movie. And, like, if a parent comes up and is like, I heard you said to my kid that the Emoji Movie is, and I quote, a steaming pile of dog shit that doesn't even deserve to be put in the same likes as Norm of the North. And I'll say yes. And they'll be like, all right, thanks for letting us know. All right, kids, we're going to go see fucking Despicable Me. I don't know.
We're going to go see Dunkirk, kids. Come on, let's go. Let's go get crazy.
I would fucking endorse going to see Despicable Me over Emoji Movie. And I don't like Despicable Me. At least Despicable Me 3 has Trey Parker in it.
Yeah, it's got that. He's got some more famous people.
To be fair, Emoji Movie had Stephen Wright, one of the funniest comedians.
Does it really? Oh.
Yeah, Stephen Wright's in it.
Oh, God.
He plays the father.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember seeing him in the trailers. That's fucking right.
What's even worse is, Stephen Wright, if you want to get someone to play someone with no emotion or
just
far
very
less
dry.
emotion, he's one of the perfect people. Him and Ben Stein are the people you want to have like play those kind of characters.
Yeah.
With the voice like that. And Stephen Wright sounds, and I never thought I'd ever see him in a movie or hear his performance in a movie where he's like obviously doesn't give a shit or like is not even trying. Like there was a point where he had to like be like talking to his wife, who's like walking away, and he's like, I'm gonna give her a name, Susan. He's like, Susan, come. He's like, Susan, come back. And I'm like, did you even fucking try? Well, this is the Emoji Movie. Why am I fucking complaining about that?
Yeah.
But like, it took people with talent and funny people and in some cases some good actors and just fucking said to them, here's the script, do whatever.
God. Well, and they made their money. Like they got that. I mean, hey man, it's a paycheck, I guess. To find any silver lining, somebody got to eat because of the Emoji Movie. Oh Jesus!
How is that a fucking silver lining?
I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, and it's really hard here.
The person who gets to eat because the Emoji Movie made money doesn't fucking deserve to eat. They don't deserve to fucking use up air on this earth.
I agree.
Anyway, the last movie I saw was the new Steven Soderbergh.
Oh, you saw
movie.
fucking Lucky Logan?
It was funny. It was real good.
Oh damn! I shit you not. I was just about to ask you like, yo, if that's playing at Westminster, let's go see it. Oh, I want to see that so bad.
I had no problem going to see it again. I made the mistake of getting a large drink and had to go to the bathroom at 3 different times, including one time that was right at the end and I missed a bunch of plot stuff.
Oh God, no, absolutely, man. Let's go see that. I've been waiting for that. I mean, we saw the fucking trailer together when we went to see, what was it, Dunkirk, right, or something?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he's great. I could gush about that man. Have you ever seen The Nick?
No, that's the one you told me about. I can't remember if you spoke to me about that on the last episode or if you just mentioned it right before we started.
Yeah.
But no, it was real good. And it's funny because I never like Steven Soderbergh. Because it was like, because he's credited like a lot, like in commercials and shit, as the man who directed Oceans 11, 12, and 13, and then I forget the other one they mention, Magic Mike, and I'm like, well, this movie can't be good. And then I found out that like he's super critically acclaimed for some of his other movies.
Oh yeah, no, he he does some like, studio stuff that's just like, all right, whatever. But like, man, dude, fucking like Aaron Brockovich is amazing. Fucking like I said, like the Nick, the miniseries that he did, it was fucking astounding. And what's crazy about him is like he's a true auteur. I just found out about this recently because my friend Carmine, he saw it and he really liked it. That guy fucking like writes, directs, and edits, and sometimes even produces all of his work, but sometimes he'll fucking just change his name on the credits because he doesn't want to be seen as an auteur. That's how like fucking huge that guy is.
Well, the movie was excellent. It was, and I said to everybody, I was like, well, he did the remakes of the Ocean movies, so like he knows how to do a heist movie. And this, like, I've seen a couple of the Ocean's movies, and some of them are okay, but like, no, this is definitely one of his best heist movies.
Oh yeah, no, it looks good.
And I will take you to see the shit out of that movie. It was real good. It's got Adam Driver in it, who was Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And I would say that he is far better in this than in any other movie I've seen him in.
It's also got Daniel Craig not playing a British person, which is
Going
interesting.
completely against type, yeah.
Yeah.
Not playing a suave Englishman. He's playing like a fucking gross, dirty redneck. And he's fucking incredible.
God damn.
And
No,
it's just
yeah.
like the joke that they do all the time on like the posters, the fucking trailers, and even in the credits, where it's and introducing Daniel Craig because he's so fucking like
Yeah.
what? No, it's real good. It's very funny and very very well done.
I've just been looking at Soderbergh's list here. I didn't know he did a fucking, oh, what the hell's his name? Liberace. He did a Liberace movie.
Oh yeah,
With,
he did Behind the Candelabra.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to see this now.
The Matt Damon Michael Douglas one, where I believe there's a scene where Matt Damon performs fellatio on Michael Douglas.
Oh fuck yeah. Well, you know what? Oh man, did he direct The Informant? I fucking love this movie.
I
Yeah,
don't know
he
if
did.
Because I remember I looked at his Wikipedia list and like there was movies on there. I was like, holy shit, he worked on that?
Yeah.
And he like just did stuff as like line producer and like wrote the script and shit like that. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But no, it's real good. Let me while we're talking, and I actually saw this like 2 days ago, like on Friday. It was a real good movie. But like while we're talking, let me just look up, see if there's any showings on tonight. But also before we go, do you see world-renowned, especially in France, comedian Jerry Lee Lewis? Not Jerry Lee Lewis.
No,
Sorry.
Jerry
Jerry
Lewis. Yeah.
Passed away.
I saw that. I was gonna mention that earlier. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. What was it, like 91 he died at?
Yeah, he was old. Like I was surprised to find out, I think last year, because I was watching fucking Animaniacs, and one of the characters in it is like they don't say it directly, but it is Jerry Lewis, because he's doing like the lady,
Yeah.
like all that. And I mean, I don't like his work. It's not my taste. I think it's not aged as well as some other stuff. I do really want to see the one Scorsese did with an.
Oh, which one?
It's the one with it's like King of Comedy.
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh
called.
yeah. Oh fuck. That's right. Because he plays as the late night host on King of Comedy. Oh yeah, dude, that one's fucking great.
The one, and De Niro's.
Yeah, he's like this obsessed comedic. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want to watch that. Like, and I heard he's good in that. But like, shit, like the Nutty Professor and his stuff with Dean Martin. Like,
Yeah.
I watch it and I'm like, this is kind of annoying.
Yeah. No. I mean,
he's definitely like one of those people that even if you don't like their work, you can't say they've never like they're like not important, because if you fucking look at every character who's meant to be like a crazy scientist from then on, they're either inspired by like Doc Brown from Back to the Future with like the crazy hair. Well, that's based on Einstein, obviously, but
yeah.
like with the crazy hair, or they're like the nerdy kind of bucktooth one, and there's like, and I just think that that's based off of his Nutty Professor. So like, you can't say like he's never had any like influence or whatever. And for the longest time, I thought that Jerry Lee Lewis was doing a comedy act with Dean Martin, and I was real confused when people would talk about that. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. The one movie, man, I'm looking at his list, and I honestly don't think I've ever seen like any of these. Only one that I want to see is The Day the Clown Cried. If you know what that is.
No.
Oh
Let me look
man.
that up.
I've seen this talked about before in like videos. It's a movie that never got released because like it was really dark. But I think you can find it like online or like some bootleg. I think it deals with a clown in Auschwitz. Is what
Oh,
it's
I
about.
think I've heard of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like really like heavy and dark and fucked up.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and like, because I think it was just after, like, when I was like learning about him, I saw that was never released, and I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like,
I wonder if I can find it anywhere.
when did that get made?
Um,
Or like start 72? Okay.
yeah. But
Apparently you can find it because Harry Shearer saw the film in 79, and he was like, he said, with most of these kind of things, you find that the anticipation or the concept is better than the thing itself. But seeing this film was really awe-inspiring in that you are rarely in the presence of a perfect object. This was a perfect object. This movie was so drastically wrong, its pathos and its comedy are so wildly misplaced that you could not, in your fancy of what it might be like, improve on what it really is. Oh my God, that's all you can really say.
ooh, so it's got some mixed feelings. I see.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it just kind of got slated, and that's why it never got released. And then Lewis said like it was a failure because he just kind of lost interest in it. But he said, "You will never see it. No one will ever see it because I am embarrassed at the poor work."
Oh my God.
Well, shit.
Well, with that, man, we're like at an hour 30 here.
Yeah, I think we're good
Yeah.
to finish up here.
Yeah, because I love you, but I'm a hungry man. I'm a hungry boy.
Yep.
My parents got some crabs for dinner, and I'm gonna munch down on those for a little bit. Be a true Mailander and get some Old Bay sauce on that.
Old Bay sauce?
Or seasoning. Fuck. Shit. All right, I'm from Maine. I'm sorry. I came here undercover. Oh fuck.
Oh man, it couldn't be a more perfect thing to end on. As a
Yeah.
true Marylander, I will eat my
some
crabs
Old Bay
with
sauce.
Old Bay sauce. That's like me saying, yes, I'm gonna have a true Scottish night listening to bagpipe music and eating tinned haggis.
Well, you got me. I'm a fraud. I'm a total fucking fake. I might drink a Natty Boh. That's Maryland.
There you go. Yeah. But let's do our plugs. I set up social media pages for us, so I will look those up while you do yours.
Okay. So for mine personally, you can find me on the Brooks and Zach 100 Year Show, just 100 years. You can also find my stuff, the stuff I do. Oh, and real quick, I want to plug some things that just came out. Super excited about this. A music video that I worked with Tyler Dragger. I've done one with him before. He's a local artist who's very good. His just came out. It's called I Found Myself, Tyler Dragger, and that's spelled as it sounds, Drager. It's a music video that I not to toot my own horn, I'm very proud of. Like, I think visually it's one of the best things I've ever made. And I think it's very unique. It's gotten some good feedback so far. Really proud of that one. Finally came out. And then another one that actually has been out for a while that I have just now finally got around time to talk about is the one that I did with my one friend Brandon Buckingham, which is more of a very simplistic rap video. It's not as weird and artsy as Tyler's. It's more like life's about living because the song's called Life's for Living. Look that up if you like sort of like bedroom rap, I guess is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. You can find me on Instagram as Dr. Goomba, doctor spelled out, because I usually use Instagram more than anything else. I don't really use Facebook or Twitter anymore. So yeah, those are mine. You go ahead.
All right. My YouTube channel is Scotsman Music and Movies, and I haven't uploaded anything on there as of recent, but I'm hoping to upload either some video forms of these podcasts or maybe some more reviews, depending on time and stuff like that. Twitter page we now have is You'll Like 'em, which is at You'll Like 'em Pod. All one word, no capitalization, no punctuation, and like anything like that. And we just mostly, post the episodes on there. Like I'll post maybe an odd thing about, the state of the channel, like the channel, and maybe a couple jokes here and there. Quality entertainment, I'll tell you what. But
Absolutely.
and on Facebook, you can find us. Our Facebook page is Conor and Josh's You'll Like 'em podcast. You'll like 'em in parentheses. Everything's capitalized. The first letter of each word's capitalized. Like a true English nerd that I am. Everything has to be grammatically correct. So those are the channels. Sorry, the pages that we have and the channels we have. So check us out, and of course on our SoundCloud page, which is just You'll Like Conor and Josh's You'll Like 'em, and we are gonna head out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for sticking around, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. And real quick, I forgot to mention this. We were hoping to do some short minisodes on every other week. So say the first week and the third week of the month we do the podcast, and then maybe the second and fourth week we'd try doing a short mini episode on whatever we wanted to talk about. I tried to do mine this week. I didn't get it up in time, so this week comes when the next podcast will come out. And then maybe after that, Josh or myself or both of us together can do a short discussion that will tide you guys over to the next podcast episode.
Yeah. And then one thing I'm trying to do for the show as well is this of course extends to you because you're the co-host. Do some interviews with local artists and have them play music on the show, or do something. I messaged a bunch and they all said yes.
Oh,
so we have a lot to pick. We have a lot to pick through. So yeah, no. So hopefully we can do something like that. I was gonna try and do something like that last night, but it was not capable of doing that whatsoever. So all right. I think that's it.
Yeah, and so thank you for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. And I'm going to hit stop.